I am properly excited. This car has captivated me for over half my life since I was a teenager. This is the Lotus Elise. It's been fundamentally the same car since the day it launched in 1996, but being a Lotus, it's got better and better and better.
New engines, new gearboxes, new bodywork again, new engines, superchargers. This car is a proper skunk works. Let's see what happens if we do this kind of car. I love that idea. And I have loved the idea of the Elise since the day it was born. Carbon fibre seats, roll hoops and engine cover, lighter forged alloy wheels, open shift gate, that saves a kilo, polycarbonate rear screen, and a lithium-ion battery hidden away under a cover. So after taking the weight out of the car, Lotus has gone after putting it back in downforce, which is a much better kind of weight.
And today, for the first time, I finally get to drive one after 22 years of waiting. This is the Elise Sprint 220, and that means it has 162 kilowatts and 250 newton meters of torque. And that comes from this Lotus-tuned 1.6 litre Toyota-sourced four-cylinder. Now, I could go on and on about it being a Toyota engine, but I've already done that. And if you want to watch the video of the Evora, you can see what I think. Or if you can't be bothered, it's not a problem. It's a good thing. Anyway, 162 kilowatts isn't a lot of power. I will grant you that. When you think about the Honda Civic Type R, that's got 300 horsepower or 400 newton meters of torque. The thing about that car is it weighs 1,400 kilos, whereas this weighs 900. That's completely different. So, with less energy, you go faster, more easily, and you're not even using up your tyres and brakes nearly as much as you would in a simple hatchback. So, I'm all about lightness with less power because you're not using as much. Okay, so this is genuinely, I'm not joking, the first time I'm driving this on a good twisting road. So I've just driven it through the city and it's fine. Like, it's easy, it's small, very small, so people don't see you, but you know, it's fine. It's no power steering is actually great. It works. It never feels like it needs the assistance, and that's why it's great, it's so light. And because it's a Toyota engine, it just does the job really easily, sweetly. You know, in relative terms, this has a lot of torque. I mean, it's got 250 newton meters. It doesn't sound like much, but it's accessible. Point number one. Big point number one. It's accessible, and secondly, there's plenty of it to push this thing along. It really does feel just tremendous. It's a really lovely little car. What you're buying this car for is the way you can just roll your wrists and it responds. The steering, and everyone raves about the Evora steering. I like this better. You need so little input, but it's not darty or jerky or going to give you a fright. It's, you know, mostly down to the lightness of the car. I mean, as you know, the car weighs nothing in car terms. I mean, most supercars are another one of these again, you know. Yes, they've got a lot more power, but they need it because they're just getting heavier and heavier and heavier. I mean, I'm amazed this actually has air conditioning, and that may be partly because it's an Australian delivered car, and we need our air conditioning because it's feral out here. But you know, here I am in some flowing, bendy stuff. This is everything I expected this car to be already. And people even recognised it. Like, I got a couple of people hanging out the cars, waving at me. You know, I was taking it easy, I wasn't carrying on. But I tell you what, the controls in this car are just perfect. And I don't mean the indicators and, you know, start buttons and all that. I mean steering, brakes, clutch, gear shift. The gear shift is just so clack, clack, but not noisy clack. It just feels mechanical. It feels like you are directly engaging the gear yourself, and I love that. I think that's just That's outstanding. And even though you can probably see I'm moving around a little bit, this is a very bumpy road. It's one of the reasons I use this road. But it's not uncomfortable, and the steering, you know, it's not writhing around in my hands. It's just telling me what's going on, and that's partly because the fronts are only 175s. And that's pretty important, because if you over-tyre one of these, they become hard to drive, and of course with no power steering, harder to drive again. But the way this car's been set up is just tremendous. It's really user-friendly, and you can really lean on it in the corners, like really lean on it. I am, you know, for a first go, I'm really pushing this, and wow! I know exactly what's going on the road, and the way the front grips, despite not having much weight over it, this is brilliant. I'm loving it. I've driven a lot of amazing cars over this stretch of road, but nothing has been this easy straight off the bat. And it's not scraping, it's not bothering me. There's a tiny little bit of feeling that it could do with a tiny bit more wheel, but a bit more tyre, but my goodness, it just feels so keyed into the road. It's wonderful. The engine's very flexible. That's one I've really come to notice, and that's obviously the supercharger is a big help there, rather than, you know, waiting for a turbo to spin up. That torque is there, and the throttle response is there. Like, you can really balance this car on the throttle. You know, if you do get that little scooch of understeer, and you do, although I didn't then, I was expecting it then. It just, oh my goodness, the grip is wonderful. Yeah, you can tune that understeer on the throttle. Maybe I just needed more throttle coming down the hill. It's just, wow. And because it's so light, it just turns in so beautifully. Like, then it gave me tons of warning that it was going to let go, and it let go, and I was able to catch it. And what's more is I am having a lot of fun at not very high speeds, I've got to say, and that's again a function of what type of car this is. The adrenaline you get from driving this all day. Yeah, I get it. I totally get it. I built up an image of this car in my head. You know, what's this car going to be like? And it's exactly what I thought it would be, but better. I mean, this is utterly tremendous. Yes, it's not super refined. Yes, it's not going to win any awards for quality of construction or any of this. But this is a 22-year-old platform that is still absolutely delivering with the best of them. You know, as far as the experience goes, and that's what the Redline is about, as far as the experience goes, this feels fantastic. This is a car that makes you feel really happy to be in it. I am so pleased to be in this car. I've been pleased from the second I got in it. And it's a joyful experience. I really love this car. Wow, what a thing. I've had 22 years to think about what this car would be like. I was a teenager, sort of, when it came out. And what I've discovered is that it's everything I thought it would be, but better. And that's amazing. It's lighter, it's quicker, it's more exciting than I thought it would be. And I don't want to stop driving it. So instead of sort of standing here and giving you some wishy send-off, I'm just going to go. So thanks for watching.